The church has been gathered to Christ, but the story does not end there. For those who belong to Jesus, another moment awaits. The Bible tells us that every believer will one day stand before Christ. There will be no hiding behind titles, no hiding behind reputation, no hiding behind what other people thought of us. Paul wrote these words, "We must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ." This moment is often called the judgment seat of Christ. But this judgment is not about deciding whether the believer is saved. It is about what was done with the life God gave us. What did we do with what He entrusted to us? Jesus once told a story about servants who were each entrusted with something valuable. The issue was never simply how much they had, it was what they did with what they had. Some of the most important things we do for God may never be seen by people. God sees what people don't. Our motives, our sacrifices, our obedience, our love. Paul said that each person's work will become clear because the day will reveal it. But what is built for Christ will endure. And some things we thought were important will suddenly seem very small. Because eternity has a way of changing what we value. Scripture speaks of rewards, crowns, not as trophies for human greatness, but as evidence of God's grace working through faithful lives. And when those crowns are received, they will ultimately point back to the one who made it all possible. And perhaps the question is no longer simply what will happen to them, but what am I doing with the life God has given me? We do not have to wait for eternity to begin living for Christ. The invitation is now. Before the crowns, before the rewards, there is the relationship, Jesus. If you know about Jesus but have never truly surrendered your life to Him, don't treat that invitation as something for another day. Come to Christ, trust Him, and let the life you live today become a life that points back to Him. For those who belong to Christ, the story continues. The church has been gathered, the believer has stood before the Lord, and now Scripture turns our attention to the heavens. The marriage supper of the Lamb is the next chapter of this prophetic story.